Kalra, and this is the Lakmé Fashion Week Podcast. In today's episode, we're talking about mindful healing for sustainable living with Shayoon and Alexander Mendeluk, New Age healers and founders of the Lightforce Center. So very quickly, not quickly actually, we're going to exhale. There is no quickly in this conversation. At the workshop of yours that I attended, what I thought that was really beautiful was that you began your conversation with sustainability. And in fashion, sustainability is the buzzword. It is actually the future of fashion. But what was really beautiful is you talked about sustainability in the context of self. And I wanted to ask you, how can we practice being sustainable to or with ourselves?
Well, that's a great question. I think that what we're beginning to really undeniably understand is that we are all connected. The concept of separation, whether it's from nature, whether it's from each other, can no longer exist if we as a global population, a human population, are going to actually live truly. Like, we're at that point. The Titanic has hit the iceberg, guys, and we're sinking. And so the question then becomes, well, then what do we do? What is the life vest? What is the safety boat out? And it all comes from within. The answers come from within. How can we create a sustainable world externally, whether it be fashion, whether it be any type of business or economy, if we don't truly understand what sustainability means internally, which means that we have sustainable emotions, that we are in balance inside, because the exterior world is a direct representation of what's going on inside. And as you can see in the world around us, you can see how people and governments and businesses have been acting and treating humanity from the beginning of time that we can imagine. It's gotten us to this point. So for us, at least for myself, I feel like the only way forward is within.
But how do we practice this, especially now, And I mean, it's so important that we're having this conversation at this moment because there's so much grief. We went through the first pandemic, the first wave of COVID-19, somehow knowing that it's okay. You said it's 1 month. We thought once we get to the end of the year, we'll be fine. But the second wave has been so intense. And a friend shared with me something. She said, there is so much grief. How do we practice sustainability or even sensibility in the midst of so much grief? And I mean, what are the ways to do it?
So we are big on teaching people how to go in, and we always say you must check in with yourself before you check in with the world. And the only thing that you can really do during this time is control your mind. You can't control anything else. Everything else is a disaster. All this stuff is going on around us. People are grieving, people are losing other people in their lives. And so it's really important to be able to understand how to sit with yourself and how to go inwards. To sustain your emotional state takes practice, and it takes a really willing person. And so when you realize that you're in all of this turmoil, there's no other solution. You have to go inwards. Otherwise, the fear will take over your mind, and that will turn into disease, and you will attract exactly what it is that you are fearful of. So a quick way to do that is we have a whole morning ritual, right? So we say that every single day you need to sit down. It starts before you go to bed. No screens before you go to bed. That's a huge program, right? At least 1 hour before bed, no screens. If you're going to sleep, watching the media, watching, things that aren't of a high vibration, it's going to be playing in your head before you go to sleep. You'll have, horrible night's sleep. And then that program keeps running in your system. Creates cortisol in the body, no screens. And then when you wake up in the morning, no screens until you have checked in with yourself. So don't grab your phone and check for Instagram to see who's posted what or what kind of messages you have, because none of that matters. If you check in with yourself first and you ask yourself, how am I feeling today? And, your body responds, your brain responds. And then you wake up, you make yourself a nice tea or hot water to boost your metabolism. And then you sit with yourself, you sit in meditation, you sit and pray, no matter what, even if it's 5 minutes to an hour. The action of sitting and closing your eyes and going within and training yourself and saying, I'm here for me, will increase your productivity and release serotonin within your body. So you in turn are going to have a beautiful gratitude in your heart before you start your day. And then after you've sat, you plan out your day. We have something called a daily flow report that should just be sitting on your desk. So you know what it is that you're supposed to be doing and your mind's not all crazy and you have all the top important things that you need to do throughout the day.
Let me tell you something that's been happening in India, and it may then your daily morning ritual may not work. Everybody has come together to become the system. From the beginning of the morning to the last thing at night, you're helping somebody get oxygen, remdesivir, medication. You're on your phones now for greater purpose. It's not that you're scrolling and looking, or you're neither doom scrolling nor looking at Instagram and social media to either feel bad about yourself or feel better about yourself. You're actually connected with each other all the time, last thing at night and first thing in the morning, in the middle of the night, because you're trying to help someone get oxygen or get a bed in a hospital. What if that's the world, right? We are in crisis mode. We are in the middle of World War COVID, right? I can't even call it World War III. How do you protect yourself then? Or how do you take care of the larger world? Because we sit in a larger world. And I know that one of the things both of you suffer from is that you're empaths. So you absorb it all. What do you do when you feel the need to be an empath and to help, and it's still you have to survive?
You've touched on two really important points. Number one is the state of crisis, which is like a war. And I don't think you're off by saying this is like World War III. I think this is what it looks like, you know, when you're in a state of trauma, when you're in a state of fight or flight, it's very easy to listen to this and say, oh, that's nice. You know, you're out there in Bali, you sit down and you just have a nice cup of tea and you meditate. But we have people who are dying down the hallway. We have real crisis that's taking place. Number one is the analogy of the airplane. You cannot help give other people oxygen until you give oxygen to yourself. And there's a double play with that, literally, that it doesn't matter if you're in the military, you've got to take rest, you've got to have shifts, you've got to be able to go and take care and nurture yourself. Otherwise, you're going to burn out. And guess what? Like Shayoon said, you're going to manifest, unfortunately, your own health demise. The ones, first and foremost, when you're in a state of presence, and believe it or not, when you find self-mastery, and again, that's hard to find self-mastery when you're in a state of fight or flight. When you find that state of presence, you actually don't take on and absorb other people's stuff. You're intentional with your energy. You're intentional with your thoughts. You're able to handle trauma and extreme situations very clearly. And this is like a state of flow. It's a state of Zen. It's a state of being able to really bring your balance and your center into place. And so the only way that you can get that without just running around feeling like your head's going to explode and the world is going to end, we're looking for people to hold it down right now. We're looking for people to turn to say, it is possible to get through this. It is possible to keep our calm, even if we don't have the solution. The only solution we can use to weather the storm is to hold it down in ourselves so we can actually tend to the sails and the masts and keep the boat steered in the direction that we need to go, which is the state of help, right? Helping as many people as we can. So, I mean, that's what I would say to that. And so again, a nice morning ritual kind of sounds light and fluffy, but we're really talking about the foundational practice of being able to save yourself no matter what happens in life. Whether you get hit by a car, or you lose somebody in an extreme situation, or you're just dealing with the stress of the global population, right? We're all experiencing this trauma to different varying degrees. And it's extremely important that we start with ourselves first. Otherwise, we're not going to make it through.
That's actually, I think we all needed to hear that, because I think we're forgetting ourselves in the desire to help everybody. But what is also really important is that both of you have had really exceptional journeys. And I'll begin with you, Shayoon. You had to go through a crisis, hit rock bottom to find this strength. And I think that it's important for us to know how you created this program through what you went through. You went through the pain, to find your own healing? This has been a very internal journey that you are now able to turn into something external, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I came from the fashion world, and we were both very deep in the fashion world. And so when I first met Alexander, a few years before that, I got into a really terrible car accident, which changed the course of my life completely, because I spiraled into the Western medical world, which told me after my accident, my car flipped, I was on fire. It was a really bad situation. And in turn, I hurt my back to the point where they told me I wouldn't be able to walk properly again. I'm not going to have children. I'm pregnant with my second. And it basically—
You need to repeat that. You need to say it again louder.
Yes.
That's such happy news.
Yeah, I'm pregnant with my second child after being told by doctors that I would never have children again, just because I got into a car accident. And I got into a state of depression because the things that I was being fed had no solution to my symptoms, zero solution to my symptoms. So I was young and vulnerable, and thought the only way to go through this was through medication, and to give up my childhood. Basically, I was a baby. I was 19, and so I gave up playing professional sports, dancing, doing everything that a child or a young adult in college wants to do. No more wearing heels, no more going out as much. And it took a toll on my body, and I didn't even realize that I was carrying all of this emotional stress within that turned into depression because of this. And I was angry. I was angry because I lost, so much time as a young adult. I was angry at my body. I was angry for not being able to walk or go to fun events or, do those things. So I self-medicated, and I got into drinking and whatever I could do to numb the pain. And then I met Alexander, and we were at a fashion exhibition in Vegas because he was showing one of his lines, and it was a really big deal. And that night I was in the hotel room crying. I said, "I'm sorry, I can't go. I'm in so much pain." And he had studied martial arts his whole life, and I was the complete opposite. I never ever was introduced into the healing world. And I just was like, okay, I'm not going to do your healing stuff, your, whatever it is that you do, it's not going to work. Like, there's no way that this 10 out of 10 pain is going to help. Whatever you're going to do is not going to help me. He said, just give me a chance. And he introduced me to something called EFT, which is emotional freedom technique. And it took 5 minutes. And within those 5 minutes, when he performed EFT and then showed me how to do it, because it's empowering to be able to heal yourself, you have the power once you acknowledge, once you reveal, you have to reveal it to heal it. You have to say, I have this, and I'm willing to now go the extra mile to forgive myself and forgive my body. And that's a concept I never thought of before. And I did this emotional freedom technique, and I freed myself. I freed my entire being and my body from all the anger, the pain, the depression, the incident. And Nonita, within 5 minutes of this exercise, I was downward dog on the ground, like touching my toes, which hadn't happened in like 4 years, crying, FaceTiming my parents, like, I'm like, I can move
free
again. I'm free.
Yeah.
And after that, I became obsessed with this and wanted to help as many people as possible, because it was, it changed my whole life. I got my life back. Essentially.
Actually, you said something really powerful. You said that you have to use your voice to heal.
Yeah.
And it's something that, that resonated with me, because we don't say it out. We don't scream it. And I think what often hurts us is the fact that we feel we're not being heard.
Yeah.
And, it's a very typical thing, just for you, Shayoon, what do little girls say to people? Listen to me. And we take those incredibly feisty women and turn them into mice, the system, because people are not listening. So there's that grief.
Yeah.
Just if I was to ask you to step away from your own personal experience, actually use your personal experience and fashion, I'm kind of fascinated by, because your workshop left me with larger questions. How could the industry, say the fashion industry, heal itself? by speaking? What could they do? And I know it sounds like a really strange question, but I feel that other than healing people, you can heal groups and organizations and systems.
This is my main purpose in life is to help heal those with massive influence so that we can help heal the world quicker. And my biggest joy is to work with our culture and our people, because South Asian community and different cultures and religions within that we've been taught to suppress our voice our whole lives, from culture to religion to what you can dress like, what you can't do, what you can say. Then you get into this powerful fashion role and you have all of the suppressed trauma inside, and it shows. And so what my biggest advice to everybody is to use your voice and speak your truth, because the second you release that, the second you ultimately say what it is that you are thinking, speaking, and feeling, and know that it doesn't matter, because the foundation of that is your love and your truth, everything else will prevail. And we have to speak up, and we have to be those leaders that say, hey, you little girl that you're, wanting to scream, do it, talk about it. I was known in India for a few years ago because I'm the girl that's breastfeeding in a lehenga. We have to do these outlandish things to say it's okay. There's nothing wrong with having a voice, especially as a brown woman. You should have a voice. You should speak about what it is that you want to, because if you don't talk about it, you won't be able to heal. If you don't say what happened to you, if you don't, express your experience, nobody's going to be able to help you. And in turn, you can't create conscious solutions from an unconscious place. So we have all these beautiful designers and fashion moguls, right, who could be creating from such a place of a different foundation of love and healing, right, than this dark, wounded place. But if they just spoke their truth and, really, like in our session together, so many people have so much to reveal, but they don't feel like they have a platform that it's okay. And so they don't feel safe. And so the more that people speak up, I truly believe we'll have a huge new community that are willing to back it.
Can I speak to fashion and healing real quick?
Of course.
I think that, fashion is one of the most powerful forms of art and self-expression. And I think any artist and anybody who's into fashion will understand that as artists, we're trying to heal a part of ourselves in our creations. So creating that beautiful design that might be inspired by your pain is glorious and romantic, and it has that angst, and there's a romanticism about it. We've lost so many great designers from mental illness, right? And let's also be real, there's so much ego that drives the narcissism in the fashion industry. There's so much sexual abuse, there's physical, mental abuse, but there's so much opportunity as well. There's so many beautiful people who want to do beautiful things to really transform the narrative, which I think what Shayoon is saying. And I think it's an opportunity to look at those who have influence, and going back to that whole sustainability, that you can't have a leader who has gone on a journey of healing themselves, whether it's the head designer or CEO or the employees that support the organization, right? You can't have a disconnect between the products that you create, the business that you create, and who you are as a person. That's the old paradigm. This is 2021 now. Business is personal. It's very personal, from the animals that we choose to slaughter or not slaughter and drape on us, to the brands we choose to support with our dollar. People are waking up. So leaders need to wake up. Designers need to wake up. Businesses need to wake up and recognize we all need healing. And in fact, healing is good for business. Healing is good for self. Healing is good for the planet. That's where this concept of sustainability can even begin to take form, is through that door. And that's why I always say the only way forward is within, and it ripples out to every form of expression that we create.
Well, we started our conversation with sustainability, and we said that fashion needs to be sustainable. And actually, you've said something that we said in our first podcast, that fashion needs to be sustainable to the environment, so that it can thrive, not just the environment, but the business. What is your take on this? Fashion and sustainability through self-healing?
Yes. Well, once again, if I'm running a multi-billion-dollar or startup company that is going to be producing for consumerism, right? Either there's two choices. I can hop on a bandwagon because, oh, I noticed that the people who are going to be buying my stuff want something that's more, quote, sustainable. That's never going to come from an authentic place. And now consumers are waking up, they smelling inauthenticity, the lack of transparency from a mile away. We're not dumb anymore, right? So it can't be something that you just slap on something and call it organic or say it's natural. It's just a bunch of BS, right? That it has to come from an individual place. And then from the leadership, it ripples out. This is why we work a lot with leadership within businesses, whether it's fashion. A lot of them come and want to drive more revenue. And I think that, yeah, I think that now it's become part of the ethos, at least in the millennial generation, that this separation can't really, take place anymore.
We've got to stop hating on the millennials. I have to say, the more I interact with young people, the more I feel that, okay, our future is safe. I know it's it's a strange thing to say because most people are busy going, oh, they have no work ethic. And I'm like, I wish I had their courage to tell people, I don't want to do that job. No, thank you. I think I want to work from my house in my pajamas, in my bedroom, in a safe space, but that's another conversation. What I'm hearing from both of you is that there's so much you need to listen. We've talked about self-expression, and I'll come to, how we're going to find community and connection next. But how important is listening? Because I watched the dynamic between the two of you, and one of you speaks and the other one is re-listening. It's like you've heard each other for the first time again. How important is this, and how do we make it happen? Because a lot of things go wrong because we stop listening.
Yeah. I am a big believer in do not speak unless you have something really amazing to say. And the more you listen, the more you learn. And I mean, being married to him is just like a ball of wisdom in my face every day, all day. He's literally,
I'll stop.
he's literally, no, it's true. And so I'm constantly learning, and the more you listen, the more you learn. And presence comes with listening. Presence comes with learning from being around people or certain situations, or just learning, yourself. You have to listen, you have to go inward, and you have to study what it is that's going on around you, because to be present, you have to be able to sit, and you have to be able to have no mind. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me for listening. What do you think?
Well, you just have to learn how he did that hair flick, because that was incredible. This thing is over. We're all going to practice it.
I'm doing a workshop after this.
No, but seriously, in these fractured times, we're talking about healing and listening and speaking. But how do we forge community and connection? Because we're all so distant. Even though we are connecting this way, we are actually more remote than we've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
So I always have said that community is the new currency. And I think that as a foundational model, more so now than ever, and no matter what side of the fence you're on, the fact is that there is the systems that be are pulling us apart from each other. And, we can't even go and sit with our families, right? Everything is on lockdown. We are socially distant to the extreme. It's creating so many mental health issues. And those numbers, alone when you hear are staggering. And so I think that more so than ever, community and connection is the medicine that we need, not only just on a personal level to make this through, whether it's digitally like this and connecting. There's so many amazing, new apps and things and technologies that are emerging, like Clubhouse, that are bringing people together. Now, for a brand, it's also incredible to be able to actually create a solution that goes further beyond your product. How can we create community around garments? How can we create community around self-expression that goes deeper than the fabric, that goes deeper than the skin and how good you look in that piece of clothing, right? That underneath that is somebody who's suffering, who is struggling, because we all have and we all are to a certain degree, right? And so I think that forming community and connection is probably the single most important thing to do.
It's so funny that the things you say all sort of bring me back to the workshop we did, because you talk about how fashion has extended itself through storytelling, and I kind of feel that it's going to enhance the touch and feel. You actually said that and it brings me to this thing you said, that we perceive reality the same, whether eyes are open or closed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm linking it back to sort of fashion, in a sense that whether you see fashion on video, you touch and see it, if it touches your heart, then both senses somehow, eyes shut, eyes open, it's the same. Do you want to tell me a little bit about how you came to this? Because this was the one thing that really impacted me. I remember writing it down 3 or 4 times when we were doing the workshop.
I love that.
Yeah, there's been studies done that have when they've mapped the brain and the way that it fires and lights up, right? Because we can measure how the brain and what different lobes go when different senses are introduced. And so they found that the eyes open, we perceive the world around us the exact same way that we do when we're imagining it when our eyes are closed. And so this is also why in dreams we can wake up feeling that panic was just as real, or you have an actual emotional experience. And so it makes us question, well, what actually is real? If I can look at a plate of food that really makes me hungry and I'm so excited to eat it, it makes my stomach turn and my glands salivate, right? And that's an actual physiological response to something in front of me. Well, they found that if you close your eyes and you think about that food as well, you can elicit the same emotional response. A much easier example would be close your eyes and have a fantasy, a sexual fantasy, where you get aroused, right? What's the difference between having it or seeing it in front of you or with the eyes closed? So there is a physiological response to that. And I think you're absolutely right that when you touch the senses, when you create story and you're thinking about it when you're sleeping, or it's touching your heart, which is the key. If we can touch everybody's heart, right? You remember that forever, right? And people remember what they feel, right? Not necessarily what you say. And so I think that that's incredibly important as storytellers, creators, entrepreneurs,
So your work has always been really powerful. You've had A-listers in Hollywood and Bollywood. But why do you feel your work is resonating more now? And at the workshop, there were, designers who opened up to you. There were young designers who participated, who opened up to you in a way that was raw and beautiful, and they left having healed a little bit. Why is this so powerful? Why is your work more powerful now? When you would think perhaps because you can't meet, because you can't touch them, that it would have been less.
I think that the collective now is really finding power in knowing that there is an alternative bigger than them, and that they are awakening, and to know that there is something better and bigger on the other side is coming, and more people are waking up, and more people are understanding that they have the potential within them to know why it is they're here and what it is they're here to do. And they know that to get there, they have to heal what it is that's holding them back. And the work that we do, which actually happened to the best for all of us, was during Corona, because we couldn't do one-on-ones anymore with people coming into our center. We couldn't physically do the healing. So we had to come up with a program to do it online. So we have global clients, because all you have to do is sit like this on Zoom, and you have to go through the process. And once you're willing, like I said before, and ready to share all the secrets that you've held in your whole entire life, everything emotional, everything physical comes from a suppressed emotional situation. So when people realize, okay, there's a safe space that they can trust, and they know that they want more in their life, it works like that every time. And the hardest part is the revealing, right? But after that, when you can learn what it is that is going to free you, it's just magnificent. So you want more of it. And so you get into that power mode, and it's really empowering. And so we teach people how to heal themselves. We are just facilitators because it's very possible and it's very quick.
I think there's 3 points here to touch on that even more, is that one, the pandemic has blasted health and wellness into the forefront and consciousness of every human being on this planet in a way that it never has been before.
Yeah.
And two, it's what we're experiencing right now is even though it is tragic, extremely tragic, is a great awakening that's taking place. And in this awakening, unfortunately, it's like a birthing. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of suffering that's coming before whatever this new experience, this new evolution of how we're going to live, how we're going to interact, how we're going to do business is coming. We're in the moment where the water's broken now and the contractions are happening and everybody's running around saying, we got to do something. And so I think that it's a blessing and a curse on two hands, right? Because we know now that there is no ignoring our health and our well-being anymore. Like, we just can't do it as a human global population anymore. And I think from that standpoint, it's a blessing because it's forcing us to really do this now. And then the third piece is that in the quantum physics shows this, is that we actually are connected in time and space. There is no time and space. So our ability to sit here and influence you and connect to your heart, we're having rooms with 1,000 people who can feel the energy of people all over the world. And science has now proven that we can affect the atomic structure in atoms on the other side of the planet. We don't even have to be in the same room. And so now physics is beginning to wake up and understand the language of spirituality, or the language of energy, which is what we are. And when we learn how to control our energy, which is emotion, we can heal ourselves of anything. And that's the conscious shift we want everybody to take, that the system, unfortunately, is not going to save us. It's ourselves. We have to go in, we reclaim our own power, our own health, our own identity, and heal from within.
Yeah. And I also, to touch on that, the people that are in that eat, sleep, entertainment cycle, and that cycle got threatened, they didn't know what to do, right? What else are we going to do? This is our life. So it's forced a lot of people to be like, oh my God, I've been brainwashed. Oh my God, there is a system. Oh my gosh, we're not designed to be sick. We come from love, right? Everything else is taught, and everything else, unfortunately, has been this go, 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 eat, sleep program. And so when you reprogram that program and you actually come back to your true self, that's who you really are. And then you start to figure out, oh my God, what's my vision, mission, and purpose? Why am I really here? There has to be a bigger picture. It's not just what I thought,
Well, I think mostly we all get by with a little help from our friends, right? And it's been the two of you and the friendship that you've extended a lot. I'd love to know very quickly what you thought about the session you did with, the Lakmé Fashion Week Rise team. And after that, what I want you to do, and it's quite shameless, is I want you to do a really short, handy meditation that I can put in my podcast so that I can take it with me and listen to it when I'm feeling maybe panicked, a little bit low, or I just want to pick me up.
A little takeaway for everybody on just breathing properly is that a proper inhale is actually when you inhale, your belly will expand out. And then when you exhale, it comes in. So try it. Inhale, belly out, exhale, comes back in. That's a true inhale when you breathe from your belly like a baby or an animal. Game changer. Breathe like that all day. Don't breathe from your chest. That holds the anxiety and the stress there. Breathe from your belly always. And then I'll let you take it away. You can do
I have to re-support just that. If anybody takes away one thing, it's learning how to breathe. Breath is our life. You can go days without water. You can go almost over 2 months without food. you can't go more than a few minutes without your breath. It is the central life force within us. So learning how to breathe properly decreases anxiety, decreases stress, oxygenates the body, increases your well-being overall. And so you always start with that. So what we'll do is like a little 10-minute, 5 or 10 minute centering exercise here that anybody who's listening, no matter how stressed out, no matter how much fear or how much grief, you can always come back to. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to start by relaxing the physical body. That's always step one. Got to relax the physical body. So you could do this laying down. You could do this sitting in a chair. And then what we're going to do too is we are going to connect with the heart. Now, fear and love are on the two opposite sides of the spectrum. Every time we connect into love, fear literally cannot exist within the body at that moment in time. So the quickest way to pull you out of all of that, fear, stress, anxiety, pain, is to connect to your heart. And so we'll just do that. First is to set our intentions, and no matter what religion or belief, as long as we believe that there's something greater than ourselves, that we are connected as a whole, we can always just find and ask for that guidance. So I just want to, I'll use source. Say, thank you, source. Thank you, universe. Thank you for bringing us together. Thank you for this opportunity to share the opportunity to connect with ourselves and heal. And I want you to just, if you're listening right now, just invite who or whatever it is that you connect with. It could be your guru, it could be God, it could be the universe, whatever, your higher self, your angels. Invite them in to help you right now to heal and relax and release whatever it is that you're looking for relief on. And what we're going to do is breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Take a deep breath and let go of everything. And I want you to just relax all the tension in your face, all the muscles in your face. Relax your eyes. Relax your neck and your shoulders. You can even move them around. We hold so much tension in our upper bodies. Relax your chest. And like before, just bring that breath down, down, down into the abdomen. Breathing from the belly. Just let go of all the energy that doesn't serve you. Spend a few breaths here, just really bringing your awareness to the belly and mastering that. Breathing, the belly comes out, in, the belly goes in. Relax your arms. Let go of the tension and the energy that rises. You can sometimes just feel it lift up without the breath. Everything you don't want, just use in the nose and out the mouth with the breath. Relax the hips. Relax groin and legs and your knees and your shins and your feet. And just take one final deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth and just let it all go. Let it all flow. This is step one, just relaxing the physical body. You can always do this, checking in. And what we're going to do is we're just going to skip right to the heart. The quickest way into that feel-good, happy pill is to connect into the heart. I want you to just place your hands over your heart. Feel your heartbeat. The heart is the most powerful organ in the body. Its electromagnetic field can be measured over 6 to 12 feet outside of the body. We influence the world around us with our heart, and to greater influence ourselves and the world around us, I want you to just think about something or someone that you truly love. See the smile on their face. Remember a beautiful time that you've shared. It could be connecting with an animal, your pet. It could be walking in the forest or standing on the seashore. Just feel that connection to love, whatever ignites your heart now. And when you feel it, just say connected. And just feel that beautiful connection. It doesn't have to be overthought. And the more that you spend now with that connection to your heart, really feel that love. I want you to grow it now by breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, because now we want to keep this beautiful energy in. So breathe in, breathe out. Really feeling that connection to love, feeling the energy moving through the body, in through the nose, out through the nose. In through the nose, growing and visualizing that beautiful energy. Now the heart, the energy is green, so you can visualize the energy green, just expanding with each breath outside of the body. And if you are having trouble or any pain in the body or any worries of the mind, I want you to just set your intention to send this love with the breath to that place, so you can just breathe it up. For example, into the mind. If your mind is overthinking, just breathe in, send it up to the mind, and just relax. Breathe in again. Send it down the meridians to your stomach, to your feet, to the rest of your body. You can even take it and cup your hands in front of your face like you're just washing your face with that beautiful energy of love. Now that you have that connection, I want you to give it away, because love is meant to be given, not held. And I want you to send this frequency just by thinking and visualizing the people that you love so much. Visualize this green energy filling their hearts. Now, the more that you breathe in, breathe out through the nose, the more you build that energy, and you can send it now. Send it to the ones you love. See their faces smiling. Send it to the ones who are sick, who are suffering. Send it to all of those that you don't know. Visualize your love and your heart connecting to every living being around the planet. You can visualize your heart connecting like a web to all consciousness and all living beings on the planet while you breathe in through the nose. Breathe out through the nose. Send this out, send this out. You can put your hands out in front of you like you're sending it out to the world, sending it out to the universe, sending it out to all sentient beings, all living beings. We are all connected. We are all one, and we all deserve this love. And now to seal this frequency in before you go out into the world and you hop back into the trauma, when you hop back into the fight or flight, before you go even into that place, just set the intention, say, I'm going to protect my energy. I want you to visualize a beautiful triangle of gold and white light around your body, even the underneath side of your body. Just visualize yourself within this beautiful pyramid of gold and white light. Set the intention that no negative energy or emotion of others is going to affect me. It cannot come in this shield. Only positive energy is going to come out. No negativity is going to be able to come in. Seal that in, set the intention, visualize it, and it will be done. From this state, you can also pray, you can ask for the things you need, and always make sure that you're considering, what is it that I'm giving? What am I going to be giving in my day when I open my eyes now and move forward? How am I going to give this frequency and the love to every single person, with every phone call, with every email, with every conversation, with every action? I want you to set your intention to carry this frequency throughout your day and watch how your whole entire world begins to transpire and change immediately. Aho. Amen. Amen. Thank you.
This conversation has been extra special because I think that we're surrounded by unease and dis-ease, and you've allowed us to find a little sense of, give us a sense of calm and oasis. Thank you both, and thank you for keeping us safe.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure and an honor. I've always admired your work, so this is an absolute inspiration and honor for me to work with you.
And thank you to the whole organization and Nonita and Darshana and everybody for being willing to invite this type of conversation and experience into an industry that normally from at least what I've experienced, doesn't or normally wouldn't. And so again, I think this is a representation of how things are shifting, and it's really beautiful. So thank you for seeing us, and thank you for giving us the platform to be able to express. That means a lot.
It's fashionable to be kind. Thank you so much.